Just seeing if things work. If you come on by. Okay. I can hear that. Can you guys hear that? That's the question. Ace, can you hear me? Am I echoing? This is all a test. Last night I thought I had my audio figured out. You can hear! Yes! And am I echoing? Maker JP. I am echoing. Let's see. If I'm echoing. Oh, it's all good, he says. Okay, it's all good. Okay. I'm going to try some things. Just because I swear I've spent. Oh my goodness, I sound fine. Whew. What's the news? Oh man. Trying to get into sculpting again. Okay. Just going to set up some background music. We're going to see if this works. You guys let me know if this music is too loud or not. Okay, man. This will be like the first time that my audio has worked in months. I'm not even lying a little bit. How's it going, Ricardo? Are you guys hearing that background music at all? Only my voice so far. Okay, that's okay. Is my voice loud? Is it no music, but I sound crisp? That's the best I've ever gotten. I can hear music. It's really nice. What if I turn it up just a little bit? Okay, if I start making noise there, we'll see. Bro, what are the chances you found out about? What are the chances just found out about one of your Gumroad tutorials and now you're streaming? Yes! Awesome! Yeah, we're gonna see if I have fun. I've got more Gumroad stuff coming along right now. So a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me or just getting to know me. I am the lead character artist at Epic Games Salt Lake. I've worked a little bit on Fortnite, as you guys may have heard of that before. It's a little indie game. Um, ooh, um, a little indie game that's out there right now. But we're not working primarily. Our studio is working on a different game um, called Spy Jinx, and we've been working on that for the past many years. And um, I came in from I used to work at Disney Interactive, doing characters for them, and now I'm the lead at this game called Spy Jinx, which is awesome. It's been really fun to help develop the style. I mean, it was a game that was fairly well into production when I came on, and there was a lot of good work that was happening, but the characters needed a lot of love. So I came in and kind of redid all of the character stuff, um, and now I'm heading up the team, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a new challenge, definitely a new type of challenge. Ooh, okay. Hey Matt, is that your contrast making you look spiritual, or are you really glowing like that? I think I'm really just glowing like this. Now I'm trying a new light setup, so this is all new stuff. So I'm on a new desk. Um, I can't show you. One day I'll show you guys. I'm on a new desk. I'm really settling into this life at home style. I have a new webcam that I've set up, new headphones that I'm trying to, get this audio sync, so it sounds like my audio is coming through okay tonight, which is great. Um, cons- conspira- conspiration on myself. I don't even know what that means, Limbo. Um, anyways, oops. So I'm just going to be playing around with kind of a loose block in. I am working from a concept, but it's not really worth showing the concept right now until we start developing the character a little bit more. And actually doing it this way will be kind of fun, just so you can see how I'm blocking in shapes and what I'm thinking about um, at this stage. We're going to turn on this local symmetry. This is a pro tip for you, for those of you who are newer to ZBrush, or um, maybe not know ZBrush super well. But this local symmetry. So if I scaled these pieces right here, if I scale this, it's going to scale it from the center point of the world. So if I scale it, it's actually, oops, going to basically merge in on itself, even if I'm doing, scale by Z. But if I turn on local symmetry, then it's actually just going to be scaling from this point symmetrically, which is exactly what I want. I have, what kind of printer am I using? So I use a MakerBot. No, I don't use a MakerBot. I have used a MakerBot. I use a Prusa that I've used for a number of years, and I really love it. It's super simple to use, super low cost to use as well, and I've never had really any issues with it. I've had a few, once I set it up, like I did the kit, so you actually build it yourself, which I would highly recommend if you're gonna get into like the FDM printers. And doing that just kind of set me up for at least like knowing exactly what, if something starts going wrong, like I know exactly how to fix it. I had another question. Let's see. Is it harder to work from home versus at a studio? So actually, we've been working from home for over a month now, And I would say that the work is the same. Like, I wouldn't say that it's any slower or any harder. I mean, it's a little bit slower, yeah. Um, Mainly because syncing to stuff and getting things like checking things, and it's a little bit slower, sure. Overall, though, I found that it's pretty much business as usual. Like our, I don't think too much it hasn't really affected any of our production too much in our whole team worldwide, because we work with a studio. We have a China studio, an Epic Games China, that's on our team too, and I don't think it's really affected any of us too much, production wise, thankfully. um, the one thing that I do miss, I love people. I love just like physical interactions, and so that is a I think been the most is like the hardest part of adjusting to this, is like just trying to get a good balance of normal interactions, because we do a lot of video calls. We're doing video calls all the time, every day. Um, but the hardest part is like the real stuff, like just the joking around stuff. Um, like we had a call the other day, and at the end of it, we just laughed for like 30 minutes at the end of the video call, which I think we all needed because I think we were all just feeling the isolation of like the seriousness of some of the business, the video calls. Not that it's bad. I'm grateful that we have the video calls, but sometimes we just lose out on that fun, like the jokiness of it all. And I really like that. Limbo, don't I know you? I must. I probably do. I don't know. Loco as a bird. Red bear, you don't lie dumb. I don't know what that means. Um, Dude, you gotta. I want to get the Anycubic photon. I've seen Raphael Grassetti, like he uses his basically nonstop, and I think I love the quality of um, the Form 2 printers, like the Form printers. They they're just wonderful, wonderful machines. um, but they are really expensive, and the material is really expensive. But I mean, I say that because their quality is extremely high. It's higher than anything else I've seen out there. But the photon printer really nearly matches that, and like, oops. So I would love to. I think that's going to be my next splurge purchase, is the AnyPhoton printer. Because I don't know if I do printing enough to justify getting a Form 2. Though I love printing. I mean, a lot of the stuff behind me is printed. Um, but I do work with a lot of people that do the printing. That I work with, so I've never needed to buy it myself. Hi, do you pose your characters using Transpose Master? I do. I do exclusively, actually. um, I love Transpose Master almost to like a fault. Oops. And all the Disney Infinity characters that we did, we only used Transpose Master for everything. I don't. I think we did a test um, early on, probably with Infinity 2. And to like see if we could, if ever it would speed up the workflow to like take the time to rig and then pose one of our high poly sculpts. And it just never. It's the theory. I don't know what that means. Limbo, you got to help me out. Uh, and it was just never as fast as like we had gotten so good at Transpose Master that it was so fast. So we understood that pipeline of like, well, I know how to do this. I know how to do this, you know. So yeah, I really love like model or what's the word posing in Transpose Master. It's comfortable to me. It seems really intuitive. Um, oh, thank you for the shout out. Um, are my modeling? I'm right now. I'm modeling from a reference. Let me show you the reference that I'm modeling from. Some of this stuff I'm just kind of like um, just imagining what her torso is going to look like. So this is a concept by an artist, Guillermo Esteban, um, who has got some great stuff. Let me give you a link to his Instagram. He's got some incredible, incredible stuff. He's an artist out of Madrid. I'm going to post this in the comments. And then also just show his stuff because he's got some incredible stuff. So let me just pop this back out. And I have some anatomy reference that I'm looking at too. So he's just got a wide variety of like very character heavy. Like there's so much personality in some of these that I just really love. Anyways, so I'm going to be modeling his stuff. So go and check him out. He's pretty awesome. They call you COVID-19. Okay, cool. Um, if you're doing resin, what am I looking at? Sold. I'm getting a printer. The $400 range for the printer. I don't know what's in the $400 range that I trust. I mean, I think the Photon's close to that, isn't it? Isn't it around 450 or so? Oh, the frozen. Yeah, the frozen transforms awesome. Um, do I usually use references while modeling or go by imagination? I normally it depends. It depends on the kind of mood. Like sometimes I like just going in kind of willy-nilly and just sculpting around. I mean, some of my sculpts that I'll do on my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. Um, I'll just start sculpting around in like Sculptris Pro, and then start refining it. Um, I think it for me sculpting like that is fun, but it sometimes takes longer to to like find out some of the detail, or not the details. What is it? What's the word that I'm looking for? It's a little bit harder to like figure out the vision. So a lot of it's just like I'll change, I'll start sculpting, and then I'll change, eye placement or silhouette or a number of different things to help try to figure out like what is the character that I'm doing in the first place, which is fun because like some of that creative like exploratory stuff is actually some of the funnest part of sculpting. So basically all I'm doing here is just using very simple primitives and just blocking out some key shapes and trying to like envision what this model is going to look like. She's more gangly. I mean gangly, I just mean skinny. Do I like my Mobile Studio Pro? I absolutely love my Mobile Studio Pro. I had a Surface Book 3 and it was fine. The problem actually I really liked the compactness of the Surface Pro, or the Surface Pro. That ideally that's what I want. Like I think my biggest complaint about um, the Mobile Studio Pro is how big it is, like the actual physical size and weight of it all. Um, but you take that out, actually, I find myself, if this is my largest size, I'm going to scale this down just a bit. There we go. Now I can get a bigger size. The problem that I had with the Surface Pro is mainly I felt like I was constantly fighting against the software. The pen would work and then it wouldn't work for some reason and then it would work again. And, sometimes it would stop um, mid project. But when it would work, it was awesome and I loved it. I was like, oh man, this is the greatest thing ever. And I remember I was like touting it more than anyone else until like I tried the the iPad for sketching, and I was sold. I don't think that there's even including the Mobile Studio Pro for sketching only. I don't know if there's a better experience out there that can rival the iPad Pro, and in just simply talking about sketching natural art experience. Now you bring in ZBrush, and ZBrush obviously is just not going to happen on an iPad as much as I want it to. It just doesn't, not quite there yet. Maybe one day if I'm hoping and I keep asking. Um, um, but it did take quite a bit of time to like set up. It wasn't out of the box like ready to do ZBrush. You have to figure out the right layout for the UI. You have to figure out the right hotkeys. I think hotkeys for the Mobile Studio Pro was the biggest obstacle of like, okay, how do I do this without a tablet? You know, because it's not really a mobile tablet if I'm carrying around my keyboard with me. That's not a mobile experience. A mobile experience to me is just being able to sit down or be on a bed and sculpt and not worry about anything else. And if I could do that successfully, and you had that like 30-day money back guarantee is basically what I was going for. And I figured it out. I took a few nights to really set up my workflow, and putting in a lot of first effort. And then, after that, after getting everything set up the way I wanted, it was it. Yeah, I love drawing on the iPad. I think it's the most seamless thing. You just go. It's ready to go out of the box. There's very, very few techie things that are as seamless as drawing on the iPad. It almost just feels like drawing on paper. Um, let's see. Hey Matt, have you ever tried Oculus Medium in VR? So I I've never actually tried Oculus Medium. I've tried Quill and I loved it, but I only tried it for like 5 minutes as I was at like CTN, and they have those demo areas, and that's all they gave me was 5 minutes. I'm like, wait a second, let me keep going. So, yes, I mean no, I've never tried it, the medium, and I've wanted to. I almost bit the bullet, as we're working from home. Like, oh man, now would be a good time to get into VR. um, Unfortunately, I just haven't, and just other expenses are happening right now. Um, oh, Dr. Pixels, that is great. So I've wanted it for so long. Like, I every now and then I send a message to Joseph Dress and said, hey, if you ever want anyone to test it out, I'd be happy to help work out the bugs. I've got some opinions on this particular area. um, and it was just never time. But I wonder. I mean, the iPad is just getting so powerful that I really hope that they are working on. I don't, I have no idea. Um, Paul would never let me know. He knows that I'm a talker, so he's like, don't let Redbeard know if that's going on. But maybe what we do is we start the rumor, and then they have to, because they have to fulfill on the rumor, um, that it happens. Oh, the ZBrush and iPad would be a no-brainer. The hardest thing, okay, so the hardest thing to figure out, and the only way that I figured it out with the Mobile Studio Pro is the hotkeys. How do you do hotkeys? Because in ZBrush, it's actually very like hotkey heavy. Just because you have this, you have mask, which is control. You have alt, which is push in or pull out of things. And then you have Shift, which is smooth, or Control Alt, or Control Shift, which is select, and then you have Control Shift Alt. And how do you do that with something that doesn't have any hotkeys? Well, the way that I solved it, and I don't have. No, I do have my Mobile Studio Pro here. But anyways, the way that I solved it on the Mobile Studio Pro is getting the 3D pen that has the 3 buttons. And what I did is on the side I have one of my hotkeys is Alt, on the side buttons, and then one of my hotkeys is Alt on this button, on my pen button. So if I hold Control and Shift on my tablet, I've got to figure it out. I should do a whole video on like what my hotkeys are, because it is as seamless as it could ever be, pretty much. Um, it basically, actually, like, I've gotten so comfortable with it that it almost feels slow to sculpt on a computer, like on my big tablet, because I don't have the hotkeys just like at my disposal, which is a really weird thing to think about, because like I'm just so comfortable on that tablet now. So I should do a whole video where I stream and I just talk about my hotkeys, because that was the key, is figuring out, if I could figure out how to switch between Control Alt Shift, Control Shift Alt, all together, then I could have figured it out. But I can't remember what I set as like those hotkeys, because I just use it. Mask, unmask. What is it? Mask. And I have Alt. Yeah. So I think I've got Alt here, and then Alt is one of the buttons. And yeah. A floating keyboard would take up half the screen. Yeah. So I don't do a floating keyboard. Maybe I should just take a break and we should just look at my hotkeys there. But that's kind of like a nerd thing to do. I mean, just to look at hotkeys. Take a break from new sculpting to look at, uh-oh. Let's see here. I lost my video. Let's try this again. There we go. Sorry. But it was a pretty big balance of like figuring out the hotkeys as well as like the UI, figuring out the most optimal UI to balance out all of, because I don't use a ton of um, I don't use a ton of brushes. I use just a handful, but getting some of this stuff like optimizing my geometry, my subdivisions, you know, just some of the other things that like I access through hotkeys in some ways, but I don't have those hotkeys. So how do I optimize that? Um, ooh, I'm missing all these questions. Are they all separate subtools? Right now, this is all just one. They're all just separate pieces. So this is just one subtool. I will break them up in a bit once I get kind of everything blocked out. Right now is just kind of the exploration phase where I'm just more or less pushing and pulling shapes. Nothing has like its true form yet. So what I'm doing is I'm just roughly placing kind of my landmarks. Oops. I'm trying to figure out shapes and silhouette. Um, Thinking about intersections and forms, how they overlap and play into each other. Let's see. Yeah, I should just take some time to like do the video. What's going on with my video? Let's see here. I don't want to type something. No. What? How do I get rid of this type something, I wonder? Just going to take a second to figure out what's going on. Here we go. Maybe next time I'll just connect. Is that better? There we go. Well, almost there. There we go. Okay, I have a question regarding transpose master. When I pose my character lower arm rotation towards the upper arm, the joints and elbows will push flat and deform. Is there a way to solve this? Yeah. So I'm guessing you're talking about some of like this area here, right? Mainly the key about posing arms with transpose master is do big broad movements first and make sure you have local symmetry turned on. That's going to be key because if you're not, then it's going to rotate and mush things in really weird places. So make sure you have this local symmetry. If you don't have it, on your UI, you'll have it in transpose and then or transform and then local symmetry right here. And that just basically means that you're transposing things, or you're scaling and moving things from this point, from here, instead of world space. Um, is it normal in guilties but keep calm all? I don't I don't know what you're talking about, Limbo. That's nice though. Genial. Thank you, Jose. Um, at least you're sculpting with a plan and not guessing on something that will come after a couple of there. Yeah, yeah. I kind of like doing this with just trying to figure out, at least when I'm doing like streams and I'm trying to showcase some skill. Like I'm trying to showcase a little bit more than just sculpting. Like I'm talking about the plan of attack more or less. And when I'm just like free sculpting or concept sculpting, sometimes there's no plan of attack, and it makes the discovery process a little bit longer. And I'd rather with this try to get somewhere, do something that's going to help someone. Sometimes there's so much messiness that happens that in like concept sculpting that I don't get it anywhere. I mean, that's just me. I mean, you look at people like Ashley Adams, and she's just an amazing concept sculptor who just seems to know what she's doing all the time. And I'm just not as proficient as she is. I like having a plan. So what I'm basically looking at is just form and silhouette. I'm making sure I'm getting some flats under, like opposite of curves. You see the outside of the leg is really curvy, and then the inside of the leg is more flat. I'm also looking for rhythm and flow throughout this. So you'll see like the high curves and peaks of things will zigzag down the leg, and that's more or less what I want to do. The same with the arm. So I want to have kind of a zigzaggy process. So those are the things I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about the details at all. Good morning. Diobio? Debe? I don't know how to say that. That's great. I see you're lining up your edge flow. Does that help? I'm not really meaning to line up my edge flow. It is here. What I am doing is, I'm gonna take off some clothes here. That's what we're gonna do. So you're have planes in your arms that I'm trying to edge flow up. So I just want the orientation to be this way, and then this one, I mean, I can tweak a little bit, but it's still flat going this way. This is a good. I use this a lot when I'm referencing kind of big shapes, is just noticing how forms transition into each other. So just trying to mimic some of this planar under lying anatomy is just getting some of these shapes in there. So that's what I'm trying to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want things to line up. It just means that the clothes comes off. We've been working at home for so long, barely wear pants anymore, so So mainly, yeah, I'm not necessarily worrying about edge flow lining up. It is naturally as like the planes are being more defined. So yeah, I'm not necessarily worrying too much about overall anatomy, just structure. Um, I'm trying to define the rib cage here with this shape. I'm trying to define the pelvis with this shape. And I'm trying to hit, what's the rib cage like right here. And same, I'm worrying about tilts. So it tilts, but there's not, not too much overall anatomy happening. Not at this stage. Oh man, I was just about to talk. I just remembered some cool conspiracies, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is what we're going to talk about tonight." I just completely forgot. As much fun as I love conspiracies, let me get this out there. Conspiracies are fun, and there's no doubt in my mind that some conspiracies are real. Why is this type something still back up? Oops. Oh, somehow I'm turning that on. Interesting. Huh. Again, this is a new system. Still trying to work it out. Okay, back to the show. Anyways, there was a cool conspiracy. What was it? Oh man, I gotta think. Okay, anyways, there's a lot of. I lost it. I lost the video. That's the conspiracy. We're getting there. Hold on. Okay. Out of the shadows? No. What's out of the shadows? Um. Okay. So conspiracies are fun. One, I don't believe in most conspiracies. I do believe that there are a handful of conspiracy theories out there that are accurate. Um, we didn't land on the moon. We did. Um, but the the thing is conspiracies are fun until they become your reality and you start believing in every conspiracy, and then all the world is evil. Um, I think that's when it gets to me not so much fun, because I wholeheartedly believe that most people are good, and that the I believe that most of the world is good. Let's get that out there. I do believe that there's people that try to take advantage of things, and that there's evil out there, no question. Um, but it's a bit depressing if we think that everything is evil and that there's no hope and there's blah 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 blah. Anyways, that being said, and I'm saying this because I've dealt with someone who is full into these living these conspiracies, that thinks that all this stuff. I'm not going to get into any specifics because it's not worth getting into. Anyways, um, what I'm just saying is let's just have fun, and let's try to trust each other and be kind, and take people at their word. Um, One of the greatest advices, or I guess it's not even advice, but one of the greatest things, it is advice, that was my grandpa, who passed away a number of years ago. He had cancer, and he knew that he had not a whole lot of time left, and he had been working on kind of like a memoir of his life. Just told stories about his childhood and um, things like that, and as he was nearing the end of his life, and he ended it with, if I could leave any words of wisdom. And this is a guy who is deeply religious. He's been an active member of his church his whole life, um, and up until the day that he died. And he could have said some things about that religion, and what he chose to say was, if I could leave any words of wisdom to my children or grandchildren, it would be to trust people at their word. And he said that throughout my life, or throughout his life, that he has trusted people on and on through, at their word, and he's found time and time again that people, because he's given them his trust, that they give him their trust in return, and that it's made all the difference in his life. And though he had maybe been taken because of that trust a few times, that it greatly outweighed the disappointment because of the amount of times that it's paid off. Like the amount of deep personal connection that he was actually able to obtain because he trusted people and people trusted him, made all the difference in his life with the people and that was true. Like, anyone who knows my grandparents knows that they are loved by everyone they meet, and that's because they give their love freely, and they trust people, and they take people for what their word. And I think that's something that I've honestly tried to do myself, is like, okay, I'm going to give you exactly who I am, and I hope that you give me exactly who you are in return. And I think that there's love and trust and respect because of that. So I just like that. I like that idea. I'm just gonna give this young gal some mittens. He has an 18 and a half foot crocodile. That's awesome. Most people are lizards, though. That's true. That is definitely some true. Um, oh, he's replying. Really. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm actually happy that the stream is working. Do you guys hear any music in the background, or is that just coming through on me? I'll have to try to figure that out if there's no music coming through. I'm just gonna leave her at mittens for now. So now's the time where I'm gonna go through and kind of like size everything and like try to hit the idea of this concept a little bit more. Okay, so nobody's hearing the music. That's okay. I mean, I can hear the music, and that's kind of half the battle, to be honest. it's just, it's just to have me entertained. Don't get excited, guys. I'm sculpting spheres. Oops. Yikes, muffins. Um, Australia. Um, um, now everyone's messing with anyone's jeans. How can I send me like a DM, like a direct message? You could just send it to my Instagrams. which I think is right. I've got it somewhere. My Instagram is just the Redbeard, and you can send me a DM there. Yeah, we got some boobies. Hey, how's it going? Did I watch the Tiger King? I did. Um, I did watch the Tiger King. So here's my. Let me give a review of the Tiger King without, because I think everybody loves the Tiger King, right? Let's get that out there. Everybody loves the Tiger King. I couldn't watch away. I don't know if I loved. I didn't. Let me say that I didn't love the Tiger King because it was hard for me to watch. Like it was just kind of seeing people at their worst over and over and over. um, this is this is that Carol Baskin, and just like there's so much going on. Like there's so many horrible things happening in that show, um, and that happened. But the thing that boggles my mind is like the relationships that were going on, like the girlfriends and husbands and wives to all the people. Like, what is going on in their mind? Like, what is happening? Like, I think I kept yelling, like, what is happening? You know, like over and over and over, because I didn't, I didn't get what would cause someone to to do that. But man, it was an interesting show. But it did make me feel like really sad about the state of like how can someone go on for so long like threatening someone like verbally over and over and over, and there be no action on. um, and there's no doubt that Carol Baskin killed her husband. But it's like just hilarious. It's a really weird show. But, you know, it was entertaining, I guess. Drugs was happening. Yes, drugs was happening. That's funny. Hello from Brazil. Nice tips and tricks. ZBrush is a nice tool to use. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Hey, Lucy. What what am I doing? I'm just sculpting. We're just having a good time tonight. Um, I'm actually more just impressed that you guys can hear me. I've had such bad luck in the past. Um, just getting things to work. So I'm just about ready to like separate this young lady out into different bits. But before I do that, I'm just making sure like that I have kind of the major forms defined. I don't think I need everything defined at this point. Um, but I do want like some of the just large shapes all called out. Represent, yes. How's it going, Ashley? John Adams. The bits. That's what we're going for. If I don't represent them, no one will. Ashley. Is this Incredigirl or is this girl the Incredible? No, it is not. Let me show you what I'm end goal is with this. This is a concept, I talked about this earlier. This is a concept by the artist Guillermo Esteban. I'll show his Instagram again. He's an incredible artist. All of his characters have got a lot of great detail to them. I'm gonna bring this back over here. I hope everyone is following Ashley. She is an incredible. I was talking about you earlier, Ashley, about how you just get it. Um, that you're just an incredible ZBrush concept artist and just can free flow amazing art all the time. And how I struggle with that, just like, it takes me a while to kind of figure out where I want to go with something. Anyways, this is the artist Guillermo Esteban, who's an amazing artist. So I highly recommend you give him a follow because his stuff has just got so much personality and life and appeal. So go ahead and check him out. Oh, thanks. Um, what's the conspiracy theory? Man, I had one. I'm so mad. I was going to talk about one, and I'm like, oh man, this is a good one that I haven't talked about before. But now I'm like, oh, okay. Give me a second. We're going to talk about some high-level conspiracy, but I need to remember what it was going to be. Oh well, I'm not necessarily like free flowing here. I'm working from a concept as loose as it may be. Um, she's a little bit too far forward though. Um, getting her balance. Oops. Man, what was the conspiracy that I was so let's think. Oh, okay. Um, the conspiracy of the transporting people. Have you guys heard about this? This is kind of just a fun one, and this is 100% absolutely a hoax. Um, well, I don't skip leg day. um, I don't know, but I'm suspecting there is a secret plan going on to make us all have red beards, women included. That is a world that I want to be a part of, Mr. Sanson. Yes. Hola, how's it going? Metal Gear Solids. For some common conspiracy theories. I'll sign up for that. I do speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish very well, um, but that I do. I do speak Spanish. Sorry, I don't know why that keeps popping up. Okay, so the conspiracy, and it's not really a conspiracy, more of like a mystery. But there's these videos, and there's videos. The interesting thing is there's videos like all around the world about the transporters, these people that like are obviously just appearing out of nowhere or being at one section to the other really quickly, and it happens like some of these videos, and they're all caught on like security cams or things something like this, which doesn't lend to the credibility transporting people. Um, no, it's like these people, and they all kind of dress similarly, where they have hoods or big sweaters, and then they all have some sort of metal device that they have. And it's interesting because there's a bunch of these videos online, and you see like maybe like a flash of light or just like a sparkle or a something, and then all of a sudden they're there and they're either like walking out to something, or they're like pushing someone out of the way of getting like hit by a car, or pulling someone who's like riding a bike. This isn't really a conspiracy, but it is they are fun videos to watch. So like these transporting people. That's all I got for you. Good night. There's also, let's see if I can fix these shoulders just a little bit more. Oh, the Men in Black conspiracy is great. Yeah, the Men in Black one's really fun. Oh, the Project Blue Book. I was watching something on the Project Blue Book today, and it was this video. Oh, say for people that don't know, well, let's talk about Project Blue Book, and then the Men in Black, and then um, something less intensive. Actually, those are all fun ones. Anyways, so the Project Blue Book is this really it goes back for a while, from a long while, that um, there's a secret organization, like basically the Illuminati have been working on this technology where they are trying to I'm going to start splitting this gal up while I'm talking. So now that I'm okay with these forms and like the placement of over all these things, um, I'm going to start splitting them up so I can handle them individually, kind of sculpt them individually, and then um, let's see this for a second. I will promise I'm going to talk about Project Blue Book in just a second here. I'm just doing a quick measurement. I think this head's probably hitting a little too big. Gonna make the head just a wee bit smaller. How about that? Okay, so there's like the Illuminati, and they've been working on this technology. It's basically just like a large scale um, hologram, where what is going to happen, and this is like they are going to. There's two theories of what they're trying to do with this Project Blue Book and this mass scale. And like when they say mass scale hologram, think of like the size of a city, pretty much. Um, of a hologram, either in the sky or in the heavens. And basically, what they want to do is either like show the second coming, like heavens opening up, Jesus Christ returning to the earth, and they're going to use that to control the world to do what they want, saying, "Oh yeah, well, we saw the second coming happen." And he wants, they're basically playing Mr. Puppet Master, and we're going to tell you now to do this and this and this. And then the other part of it is they would fake an alien invasion where big giant UFOs would come in, and they would simulate a big war on the world type thing. to then unite everyone and to, again, control everyone to do what they want. The large, yeah. Oh, I can only talk about it because I can talk about specific things, but being part of the Illuminati, I can only talk about just a handful. um, so the thing about this Blue Book conspiracy is that there's a lot of like weird phenomenon that have happened, like large scale um, hologram-esque things that are that people have witnessed, like large scale witnesses of either. I'm going to start combining these things. This is what I was doing. Um, Sorry, I can't like do two things at once apparently. Anyway, so there's a lot of videos and imagery out there of like weird phenomenon happening in the clouds that people say that, oh, this is just testing of the Blue Book, Project Blue Book. It's gotten a lot of traction, and there's actually some really interesting videos out there. Like the one that I saw today had these like rippling effects going on in the clouds, and there was like this weird humming noise going on, and it was, it's kind of crazy. Um, Little do they know there won't be a simulation required. The invasion from beyond is coming soon. Most definitely. Um, oh, sneaky way. Sorry. Yes. Hey, from Russia. How's it going? That's awesome. Oh, where did my... There they are. Okay. Thought I lost my shoulders. Okay. I'm going to work on the head for a little bit here. Um, and I'm going to save this because I have not saved this at all. Um, so that was a fun one. And then the other one, the Men in Black one, is really fun too. Mainly because like I'm going to work on some of these things a little bit separately. Oh, so the Men in Black. I keep like pausing and starting, so I apologize for that. Um, the Men in Black is a fun one, simply because it goes back a really long time. Like the Men in Black conspiracy is one that has like been around since like the 40s. It's really cool. Maybe even longer. It's a fantastic movie as well. Here, let's see. Not the hum from Frozen 2, I hope. Yeah, like Argentina. Actually, this video may have been from Argentina, but yeah, there's weird hums that happen all over the world from this Project Blue Book, supposedly. Um, and again, like I explain these conspiracies more of like the history behind them, not that I believe them. Um, but not that I don't believe them, because some of them I truly believe. Project Blue Book, I would not say is one of those. But the men, okay, so back to the Men in Black. So it's the Men in Black conspiracy is fun simply because, I mean, not simply, but because it has a lot of history to it. It's just been around for a really long time, well before the movies. The movie, obviously is based off of the idea of the conspiracy of these Men in Black, but these Men in Black conspiracies of like, you know, basically when anyone would have an alien encounter, or not even just an alien encounter, but kind of a paranormal encounter, that these two men would show up, and either one, they were always wearing glasses, basically like Agent Smith, or two, that they would have like kind of dark black eyes, pretty much, and that they were always really kind of had a weird ambiance around them. Um, and so it was like this theory that these agents, and they were most likely by not the government per se, but like the real secret government who's controlling us. As I talk for 3 seconds and then sculpt for 3 seconds. Anyways, basically these men would come and they would either take all the evidence that you had of some certain thing, or that they would scare people into not talking about an event or uh, an experience that they had. That basically that they were trying to like whitewash, or not whitewash, but like wipe out any evidence of paranormal or um, alien alien evidence through an intimidation. And they always just kind of showed up either right after an experience, or like a day or two after. and there's a lot of videos about the Men in Black like showing up in security cameras or things like that. It's a really interesting conspiracy actually. It's pretty fun. Um, yeah, it happened in the Hellboy movie. A lot of people have played off the Men in Black idea for a really long time. Might have been. Ooh, what am I seeing here? To add to your theory about the second coming, this pandemic got out of hand just so those 5 and 10 five. Oh yeah, the conspiracy that 5G is getting everyone sick. Um, I heard of that. It's also not true. Um, the only conspiracy that I'll talk about because I don't believe that this is some man-made sickness. I believe it was an accident. Um, you know, and whether that's me wanting to believe or whatever, sure. Um, but what was I getting at? That there was an interesting thing that like there was I think he was a Harvard professor or a Yale professor, one of the big professors from one of the big schools was like arrested back in January, and he was a biomedical professor, and he was doing a case study in Wuhan, um, and he was arrested for some reason, and the real reason is like he was like profit. He was basically making money when he wasn't supposed to be making money. The conspiracy is that he was doing tests in Wuhan, and one of the tests got out of, got out and then started affecting people. Like, it wasn't supposed to get out, but then it got out, type of thing. But there is a lot of coincidence that he did in fact have ties to Wuhan, and he did in fact was doing he had a program set up there. So yeah, there's a lot of coincidences. The thing about conspiracies, and this is like a universal truth with conspiracies, is that there are a lot of coincidences in all conspiracies. Maybe that's a coincidence. There's always truth to some of these, right? And that's kind of the fun part of researching is like, oh my gosh, and kind of like giving into that nostalgia. But as I've been around some people that have taken it a little too far, it makes it less fun to like hypothesize and play around with some of these really sad things. Um, and when it becomes too much of your reality, these conspiracies, then I think that's when it starts to become more troublesome. It probably started with vaping, because vaping is gross. Sorry, guys. Sorry to any vapors out there, but it is the grossest, dumbest thing. I don't say anything else. But it definitely started with vaping. Oh man. At least we could go outside a little bit if the pandemic was just turning people into zombies. Actually, I'm really grateful that it's not zombies. I mean, maybe it will. The one thing, so the lockdown and the pandemic has been, um, I it's been really interesting to see how people are taking it. Mainly, I've seen a lot of good, people trying to support each other and trying to figure out ways to help people, and I think that's what we've tried to do on a local level. Some ways to just figure out how to support people that need it. Um, what was I talking about? I was going to say something and it was going to be really profound, and you guys are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's really cool to think about." Um, oh, yeah. So the pandemic has been one thing to deal with, but lately, about a week into the lockdown, Utah, where I live, had a big like 5.7 earthquake. Um, and like we woke up, like it woke us up. It was early in the morning, and our whole house is just shaking. And like, the first thing, we didn't really know what was happening because we were just waking up, and then all of a sudden, like the shaking didn't stop. We thought it was one of the kids, maybe having a bad dream and running down to our room. Um, but after like the shaking didn't stop, um, that's when we were like, "Oh my gosh, it's an earthquake!" And we both shot out of bed, my wife and I, and ran to the kids' room or the kids' rooms, and like we grab them, and like they don't know what's going on. And I hurry and grab them, and then like, what do you do? And we stand under a doorway, which apparently you don't do anymore. Nobody has said that. Oh, by the way, you don't stand in front of doorways anymore. Um, and I'm just thinking like, okay, the pandemic is one thing, and everyone's freaking out because nobody. What if we like the grocery stores are all pillaged and plummeted, and but now, like, that's one thing, is like I feel like I can somewhat control the pandemic because we we can buy food, and we can wear gloves and masks to places, and we can wash our hands, and but an earthquake is just something that there's no control over. None. There's not a single thing I can do to actually control what happens if there's an earthquake. So to me, like, I'm just like, why, why, why? And since that one, there was like a 5.7 earthquake. We've had many, many, many aftershocks. Like we had one. I mean, this was weeks ago. 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this morning. I was woke up by yet another aftershock from this large earthquake that happened. And I'm just like, you flippin' earthquake. I mean, it shakes me. Like I wake up shaking because of it. Like it takes me a while to kind of settle back down and into a normal spot again, and then it's really annoying. I don't like earthquakes. I've decided that's one of the things I've decided that I can honestly say I don't like. It's a Corona quake. That's funny. Oh, thanks for digging the lips. Um, those productions are great. I do love the sci-fi productions. sculpt with some perspective on at a high focal point. What does he call this? A high, yeah, focal length. Anyways, I think I'm doing okay. I felt stressed. I'm a worrier. My wife knows that about me. Is it like I'm a worrier? You know, um, it's hard for me not to like worry all day long. So I've come to grips with like what our situation's gonna be like for the next while. Um, but the earthquake stuff shakes me because I mean literally. uh, it's just because there's no foreseeing that, and I don't like it. So if any of you guys could figure out a way to predict and prevent earthquakes, that would be it. But here's my conspiracy, actually. You ready to throw this out here? I've got a conspiracy for you. So as we're getting earthquakes, oh yeah, and there was that volcano from Vulcan. What is this? I don't know about that. The earthquake from Vulcan sleeping for 100 years? I don't know about that. And I'm having crazy, Lucy, I am having crazy weird dreams. Like way crazy weird dreams. Not liking it. Um, let's see. Have a question about the tip of the nose. Right now the tip of the nose is a separate subtool. So like right now I'm just working on more or less the base of the head. Just trying to get some rough shapes. I'll probably refine all this. Um, but yeah, right now it's separated so I can move it up and down or change the proportions the way I want. But right now I'm just trying to find the shape language that I want. She's going to be seen from more or less right here. So I'm thinking about like, since I'm working off this model, like this concept, I'm trying to think of like angles and shapes. She's got her shape language is pretty fun, and I like dissecting like the shape language and the design theory that went into this because you find a lot of repeating shapes, and the repeating shapes that I'm seeing in this is kind of like a fat teardrop where it's this. You see that in her hands. It's like a really fat, loose teardrop. Her hair has got these big, chunky, kind of teardroppy things to her. So I'm thinking about how to incorporate that into her, like, because I'm building her from every angle, I'm sculpting her out completely. How do I do that from all angles? Like, how do I continuously reinforce that shape language? Let's see. It's so crazy, and what's weird is it was usually I don't remember my dreams, but lately, yeah, exactly. Friggin' Lucy gets it. Like I am waking up, I'm like, what is going on? Why am I having such crazy weird dreams? Like weird, vivid dreams. Yeah. Oh man, I don't like it. Um, like just give me some. You can give me weird dreams. I'm all right with that. Sure. But let's make some of them entertaining and not just like horrible. I don't know. Okay, so my conspiracy. This is my conspiracy. Um, the volcano was in Indonesia. Oh, the volcano was up 500 and killed. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Oh yeah, I did see that. They had a lot of pictures about that. Dream, I need to give us a little break. Yes, our dreams need to give us a little break. That's weird. Yeah, I've actually talked with people at work about everyone's kind of having these weird dreams, like zombie apocalypse dreams. Um, just weird dreams, pretty much. Um, anyways, my conspiracy is that this is all happening because like Mother Earth wanted a flippin' break. I think I think she was upset that we were basically running her ragged, um, and she wanted a flippin' break. And so, because like right now the Earth's atmosphere is like super great, and we've only been sitting out for a few weeks, and it's not even like the whole world is completely sitting out, but we're just taking a little bit easier on her, and you know waters are clearing up, um, the air's getting better, like all these things, and then like in where I am, earthquakes are happening. Um, Thinking like, okay, well now she just needs to settle again. She's just trying to settle a little bit more. And so the whole thing, and like you go outside in Utah, and everything's beautiful. Like the skies are super blue. You can see the mountains super well. Um, and technically, it's still. I know it's spring, but technically in Utah, it's still winter. Like we'll get snowed on a few times more before it actually starts really warming up. Um, we have this thing because Utah is trapped between two really large mountains, like mountain plains. We get this thing in winter called inversion, where all the all the hot air from the east and west coast are coming over us and pushing all the cold air down, which is trapping all of the smog and the smoke and the pollution. So like Utah can be just covered in pollution for months on end, and it's like you don't see the skies for a long time. Um, and the skies right now are just like beautiful. They're so pretty. Like you can see to the mountains all the time, and there's wildlife everywhere. Birds are out and happy, and like maybe we just needed to just chill out for a bit. And, like Mother Earth is just wanting us to chill out. And it's like you don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to. You don't have to like die. I don't want to kill everyone, but man, just chill out. That's probably what is she saying. Saying enough. I agree. The same. She's sick and tired of us. Too much pollution. Animals mistreated. Yeah, but like if we all just stop running around, we can all we can all get it back. Could the actual conspiracy theory that since so many countries don't want to comply with global warming recommendations and a Secret Service did this to make it happen? No, I don't believe that. I mean, that's a cool idea too. I don't want that smooth. Now I want it smoothed. Um, I don't know. I think there's one. The reason I don't believe that theory, that it's a government thing, is that because the government particularly makes a lot of money from fossil fuels and from um, basically us using pollution. Like there's a lot of money in it. There's a ton of money in it. This is actually, it loops back to one of my favorite conspiracies of like, has is there a government cover up for UFOs and things like that? And it goes back to like, oh yeah, absolutely. Um, and like the whole reason because like, let's say there is there's a government conspiracy cover up to hide alien, like there's, of course there's, aliens on Earth, and there's uh and has our armies of like, if we had alien contact in like um initially I'm like, oh no, but then I start thinking about, okay, what if there was, and we did have this alien technology that had this like crazy renewable energy, and it's so well used that it would put, gas cars and gas powered things or battery powered things out of business overnight, pretty much. So there's these multi-trillion-dollar companies that go out of business overnight, and what would those people do to protect that from happening? Even if it meant not having a better life. And I think, oh, well, that I could see that happening. Because I like to put this out there. There is that movie that Will Smith was in a while ago, Concussion, and it was about the the football trying to cover up the effects that concussions were having on football players. Um, and that was just concussions. That was just sports. Um, which still makes, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but like one that, like, imagine like what would happen, what would these huge fossil fuel companies do to protect their making that much money? That's a crazy conspiracy, obviously, but I think that's like, oh yeah, okay, I can see the merit in that. Oops. Oh no. There we go. Somehow I'm controlling. So I'm using. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about it. We'll figure it out later. Yeah, so my video is going off because of the Men in Black is happening. No, I have. So my webcam is a Logitech cam, and it has this thing called um, capture. Helps me look a little bit cuter, um, but apparently it's being controlled by some of my hotkeys that I'm using accidentally. So, oh well, that's okay. Anyways, don't try to take too much of my crazy ramblings as that I believe any of this stuff, because some of it I just like learning about. I think it's learning about conspiracies has like become a hobby to me. Um, it's not necessarily like, oh, I believe that's what's going on now. Very few times am I that invested in any of the conspiracies that I learn about. Let's see. I keep missing. Man, you guys are chatty tonight. I like that. Um, I think COVID did prove that America doesn't have any hidden otherworldly technology. Oh, that's hilarious. That is awesome. um, hey, man, I'm still working, growing as a character artist, and keep getting caught up in very long periods working through technical parts like Marvelous, XGen, retopology, UVs, baking, texturing. Okay, I understand that. I feel like it creates long gaps in progression of sculptural skills. Is this something that I've got to work through and get faster at? So I this is my opinion, and I'm sure others would have maybe a different opinion. But the character art, there's there's several parts to character art. One is more technical, like a character um, TD, that's like more of a technical artist, and then there's the character designer artists that are more artistic, and they're working out shape language and not necessarily working out the technical sides such as XGen, Marvelous Designer. Not that those aren't good things to know. I have a pretty decent understanding of XGen and not so much Marvelous Designer, but it is something that I've played around with. Um, but those technical things will never replace good artistry, a good fundamental of character design and rhythm and flow and character development. Those are all good skills to have. Oh, whoa, what am I using here? They're all good skills to have, and it's not that you shouldn't know those or shouldn't. Um, but if you're just starting off in character design, what I would recommend is just working on that until you're pretty proficient. And if you want to play around with XGen and all those other things, I think that's good. It's that knowledge isn't going to be unused in your career, um, but there's you know you can make a healthy career as a full character artist and learning how to sculpt folds and clothes in ZBrush with good artistic knowledge that Marvelous Designer is not going to fix. Like I know plenty of artists that will use Marvelous Designer thinking that it's a shortcut or something that will replace that will fill in their knowledge because it kind of does things for them, but it's never going to out sculpt someone who knows what good rhythms are, what good tension folds are, and basically where to put areas of detail and where to put areas of rest. So I would recommend just worry about studying character art and design until and keep learning them. I think that's all good, but your focus should be not sculptural, but design language and design, and then the other stuff should just be icing on the cake, pretty much. Um, let's see. There's yeah. Um, I feel like it creates long. Oh yeah, I read that. Maybe Thanos is in the Earth, and he's just kind of just trying. He doesn't have all of his power, but he's still just snapping away, not really knowing what he's doing. Um, yeah, the SK cloth brush is a fantastic brush, but also just understanding like um, there's if you guys are interested, I'm gonna plug this artist friend of mine. Um, Randy Bishop. He has got a really good cloth PDF. So he's a fantastic character artist, period. But he came out with, ooh, where is it? He's got a limited supply on these things? Wow. Oh, he's got more. Okay. This. His fabric, he has a PDF. This thing is $5, but he does a really good job of explaining all the different types of folds and how to use them in dynamic um, sketching. And this is all 2D, obviously, but this is all transferable to like good character design and like how to sell form underneath and how to do it believable. It's really nice. This guy, Randy Bishop, really awesome artist. Great ties. Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, I've heard great things about Shane's course. Um, yeah, it's good to know those things, especially like if you are going to be a production artist and you're going to need to know how to do UVs. You're going to need to know how to do, um, retopology. Those are some core things. I think the Marvelous Designer and XGen are just different tools to help you later down the road, possibly. So this is a tool that I use quite a bit. Just this backface masking. So what I am doing is I'm just preventing me sculpting through to the other side of the mesh. Um, any thin areas that might be happening. Um, if I have this off, there's a chance that like I can sculpt here and it goes through to this side. Maybe I'll just show here. I guess I already did it, but it's not thin enough. See, it starts to come through a little bit. I'm just preventing that by turning on this back face masking. If none of you know where this is, because this is by custom user interface, it's brush, auto masking, back face mask. Just putting a little bit of love behind the ears. So this is a new brush that I'm using. This is from Pablo. Uh, I don't know his last name. He's got these digital sculpting pack is what it's called. Um, I watched one of the ZBrush Summit or the ZBrush master class videos they have, and the artist Geo. Oh man, I'm blanking on his last name. He was the only episode of the master courses that Pixelogic has right now on their website. Um, and he talked about this brush and the reason why he uses it. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna try that. So here I am trying this brush, and we'll see. We'll see if I like it. So far, I think it's pretty nice. The thing is, I really like trying new brushes. I mainly use 3 brushes for everything, but I kind of liked some of the stuff that was going on. Kind of has a softer fall off. This knife brush. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen that master, it's kind of like an interview sculpting session where you just kind of sculpt. He goes through some of his techniques and talks about his theory and the artistry that he's putting into it, and it's just really kind of eye-opening the way he goes about it. I really loved it. I thought it was really informative. And I had known his work from, he's very extremely talented, but really didn't know too much about him, and it was cool to hear his backstory of different projects that he's worked on, and so. Pablo Munoz Gomez, yes, that's the one. He's got some awesome stuff. Hey Matt, have you thought about making a 2D course? I like your 2D style, that's why I'm asking. I am in the process of making a 2D course. So unfortunately this pandemic has kind of cooled the Redbeard stuff going on, because even though like I'm at home, work is actually my actual work at Epic Games has kind of sped up and has left a little bit less time to do personal stuff, and trying to also like balance out family relations. It's been a busy time, but yes, I am actually in the process of making a 2D course, a few 2D courses. So hopefully that will be out sooner than later. I'm hoping to get back to it at the end of this month or early May. May? Oh my gosh. And then and if I can get back to it, it should be done fairly soon after getting back to it. I am glad to hear that people want a 2D course. Geo Nakpil. Is that how you say his last name? Yeah, he is fantastic. He's so good. Yeah, he does use Oculus Media. It's so cool. Anyways, like his stuff is brilliant, and I loved hearing how he dissects his characters. When sometimes when you look at like a monstery character, you don't realize the full technique and thought process and level of knowledge that they have when they're creating that. Like, he was talking about all the different anatomy that he's putting into this this head that he was sculpting. It was like, he's using real life world examples that he's filling in to create this awesome sculpt that he did, like this highly detailed sculpt that he did in just like, an hour or so. It was really cool to watch, just really cool and very inspiring. It just seemed like a really very extremely talented guy. We're going to try something out here. sometimes I hate doing just the straightforward look because they either like are cross-eyed or looking down. See, I don't want to put it like right in the center because then they're looking terrified, but maybe that's what we'll do for this, and we'll just pose it after the fact. Anyways, I like to plot in a little bit of where the eyes are going to be. Nothing too detailed, nothing that's going to take a lot of time. And then I'll take this and I'll throw, and the eyeball shader, what is it, the ZBrush eye shader on it. Fill that. And just kind of sit with that for a little bit and just see how things lie, I guess. Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, the 2D stuff is something that I've really wanted to have a good fundamental course on. Is like I know how much of a benefit it's been for me, to how much it's benefited my 3D stuff. And as I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with my own style and my own way of doing things, I didn't want to rush putting out like a low quality 2D tutorial. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, let's see this here. I do teach 3D tutorials. See that? Oh, it's moving it all over the place. There we go. Now watch this. Nope. Whoa! Anyways, I do teach tutorials. I've got some good courses over at the Gumroad. I actually am giving away my hand tutorial for free right now, which is normally a $15 tutorial. And you can get that for free with it. I think there's a code. Let me just go. We're gonna take a little self-plug break to look at the courses that I offer. Oh, that's nice, Matt. So these are the courses I teach: an intro to ZBrush, hard surface modeling and 3D printing, an advanced character design for both male and female, and then this hand tutorial I'm actually giving away for free right now. Just put in the code wash hands and you'll get this $15 tutorial absolutely free from your friend me, the Redbeard, and what a happy sculpting time you will have. Oh man, Black Pixel, thank you so much. That's high praise. I'm glad you didn't hate them. No, I do. I try to put a lot of time and effort into creating these tutorials so that they're of worth and something that people can really enjoy. So thank you for your support. It's the reason why I keep making more, because I enjoy doing it, and people keep asking for them. So as long as people want them, I'll keep making them. Oh man, Saik, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Wash hands, one word, yeah. wash hands. Actually, watch this. Let's see if I can do this. I can give you guys a link that it will just automatically put in. Let's see. Okay, halfway there. Okay, I've got a link now. Look at this. You can just go to this link and grab it for free. I posted this on the Twitch account. Actually, wow, haha, that thing that was bugging me earlier. Watch this. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a text overlay, and we're gonna type the link. I don't know how it's type something here. It's right here. Here we go. Make it red. So I'll keep this up for a little bit. Can you guys even see that? Make gonna make this just a little bit bigger so people can see it. And then it's a little bit cropped. Oh, sorry. So that link will get you to you put that in and you'll get the tutorial. It'll just show up as 0. If it doesn't, just put in the code wash hands and it will come up as 0. So that should work out just fine. Anyways, back to the sculpting. Man, what are we doing? I'm gonna put these nose like this stuff in just a second here. Just fixing some of the mirrored symmetry. Anyways, I appreciate everyone coming by and like talking so much tonight. It's been fun. This has felt nice because mainly like I haven't been able to talk very much because my sound's been so off. So it's nice to know that like maybe I figured out the bugs, worked out the bugs. Though we still don't have any background music. We'll figure that out too. Maybe that'll be in the next stream. Okay, let's get these all put together. So what I've done is I'm basically at an okay point with where I'm at with the face, the nose, and the ears, and I'm going to Dynamesh them together. This is just going to be the next step. There's nothing cut out. Like I haven't. Normally I'll make an eye bag and a mouth bag because it really sells the ambient occlusion, but this is good enough for like where I'm at right now. So I'll take this and then just combine some of these things. So merge down. Maybe bring up my resolution and maybe turn on polish even, just see what that does for Dynamesh. And I like it, except for we lose a little bit of detail. Let's turn off polish and see what happens. Go up just a little bit more. Yeah, I can live with that. Now my portrait's so big. Okay, time to make me small again. Anyways, I've also made this area here just a magnification of the brushes that I'm using, just so you guys can see. I'm really only using just a handful of brushes the entire time. Nothing too special. I think the only new brush that I'm using is this knife cut brush. And it's really just to get some more fluff. And I'm just trying it because Pablo, or not Pablo, but Gio, uh, really sold me on it. This is still one of my workhorse brushes that I use to kind of clean up edge work. Is this Jack Cut brush? This is a brush that a coworker of mine made many years ago by the name of Ian Jacobs. He's a really, really talented artist, and technically he's brilliant. Like he's got a very technical mind, and it came up with this brush that I use to really make some clean edge work. That doesn't pinch as much as the dam standard, but just really makes nice solid edges. Have I ever tried Substance Painter? Yeah. So at Epic, we use Substance Painter pretty much religiously for all the texturing that we do. We have some really close relationships with the guys over there, and um, they you know they have developed some really awesome tools, and so it's something that I didn't really know before going into Epic. But then when we jumped on to help Fortnite, um, we kind of had a crash course lesson on how to learn Substance Painter, and it was awesome. Like I really loved it. It took a while to kind of get over the uh, the hump of like learning the best workflow. But once like you understand the workflow and how to set up things correctly, like it's really quite fun to use. Um, I wish I had more time to do it. As a lead now, a lot of what I'm doing is kind of art directing our characters, our team, um, and I haven't had too much time to work in it lately as I've wanted. But it's a really powerful texturing tool that was a lot of fun to use when I was doing more texturing stuff. Now it's more sculpting and just primarily sculpting, which I'm not going to complain about because I love sculpting. Those green eyes freaking anyone out. Just looked at them. Um, oh man, we just talked about some good conspiracies, but I'll try to think of another one. Um, I know I need to talk more. Um, oh, good. The iMac caps aren't distracting anyone. Those, yeah, the iMac caps are great. They're by ZBrush. Um, he's just got that reflect. He's got a bunch of different materials that I use. I really like the Z7 and the Z1. I use pretty religiously. Um, yeah. So who was asking about the beginner friendly? Um, yeah. So I have the Intro to ZBrush course that is very much hands-on. It's very step by step and is very more guided to how to do things in a simpler way to get very clean results, and it's very if you know the basics of like how to turn your model, you're going to be fine. Because I go over every step and every theory that I go into, but in a very slow, hands-on basis, and there's very little time lapse. And I break things up into a lot of very small videos that that you can pretty much go at your own pace. So if you have 10, 15 minutes, you can go and you can watch one of the videos, practice it. Um, and pretty much that. I'm going to add some eyebrows and eyelashes to her now. So this is the Topology Brush, and it's basically I'm just going in and drawing out quads. Um, Doesn't need to be anything too special, as this is all just going to be for temp use anyways. But I just want kind of the landmarks of where the eyebrows are going to be, just to help. Let's see how much time we've got left. We've got about 25 minutes left. So let's see if I can try to get to a hair block in too. But this is fun, just kind of playing around with shapes. I'm feeling okay with where we're at with the face for the first pass. So one thing that I will do, even though it's like this is just for a block in, I'll put, instead of keeping everything so quadded out with hard edges, I'll kill all the creases, which is those dotted lines, uncrease all, and then with the Z modeler brush, I'll just throw in an edge loop right at the bottom to kind of keep that edge hard, and then the top will be soft and smooth. So this is the trick that I use, but this is very much the same in like 2D, where when you're drawing an eyebrow or an eyelash, or pretty much eyebrows, you're not defining the top and the bottom, you're defining one edge, normally the bottom edge. And so by making that bottom edge a little harder, what I'm doing is graphically drawing that line darker. That's all I'm doing there. So just to explain myself a little bit of what's going on there. The eyelashes I'll kind of handle in the same way. This concept, she doesn't really have thick eyelashes, so I'll handle these fairly similar. Because there's not a lot of landscape there, I'm just going to try to draw just a little bit and kind of follow the contour of the eyebrow or the eyelid. And make it thicker, tap to accept. That's going to give me a thick eyelid. Split unmask points, which throws it into another realm there. But what I want to do is just make sure everything is easy to grab. So I'm going to polygroup some things so different. So I have the back edge, the front edge, and then the loop, the poly loop of the eyelash. And now I can kind of move, just with my move brush, manually kind of form and shape this. I shouldn't be moving the back at all. Good. But I don't want to give her too much eyelashes. She's not a sexy gal. Like, that's not her character design. She's just a girl, and that's great. And with these eyelashes, what I'm trying to do is just give a little bit of direction to them. Even though they're block ends, like, it does, defining some of this stuff helps. And then I'll do the Z modeler brush with mask on the edge and just do a partial loop. So I'm just going to mask that internal edge and invert the mask, and then go back to my move brush and just slide that in a little bit. So I'm getting a nice rounded fall off. Yeah, stylized stuff. I'm missing a bunch of questions, so sorry. How do you usually prepare your models for Substance Painter? I've been getting some trouble with that area. Okay, let's just see some of these other questions. I'll come back to that. Lucy, hello, I'm doing, yeah, Matt has social distancing in a game development setting is affecting workflow in a major way. At Topology Brush, yes, man, I have a degree top on ZBrush. The blockout's really fast. Define more shadows, yeah. Okay, so back to the substance painter. So basically what we do is it's very similar to like or how we work in substance. So you make the high, you make the low. I like to bake things um, in Marmoset. You know, you get your AO maps and your normal maps. But from ZBrush, what you can do is you can polygroup things to make ID masks. So like things that have different materials, like for example, if she had clothes on, I could do her body in one polygroup. I can do or color mask, her shirt as a different color poly paint, um, and then I could, you know, just choose different colors for basically every different asset that I want to texture differently. Like maybe her shirt has a red ribbon across it and I want to paint that differently. So that's just a little, I can do all that and then save that and call those out in Marmoset as a different ID mask and then bake the ID mask so when I bring it into um, Substance Painter, what I'm doing is it keeps that information. Okay, there's the eyelash. And then here's the eyebrow. Oh, and then I'm going to do some hard edges on this too. So I'll quickly uncrease all, go into my Z modeler brush and do some inserts to here, to here. In this top edge. But not this bottom edge. So I'm keeping the bottom edge on this one soft because that edge I want softer and that top edge I want really hard to catch the light a little harder. So just by defining just that top edge, it's going to make a big difference of like what area is going to catch that detail. Anyway, so that's basically what I'm doing is just setting up ID masks from ZBrush before I bring it into Substance Painter. And okay, so the question is how is work going with social distancing and game development setting? So I would not say that it's affecting work too much, at least not in our studio. I think we had a pretty good a really good crew that was like, okay, the foreseeable future is probably going to be work from home. So how do we make that the best environment and not try to slow us down too much? And so we had some practice work from home days before the actual lockdown happened. And I think that was really helpful. You know, kind of we worked out the bugs before we actually had to do it, and then like by the third time testing, we were like, oh, by the way, this is the actual. Now we're just doing it, and because we can video call so much, you know, and the focus is making sure our team feels like a personal connection to each other. Like, yes, we want to be productive, and yes, we want to make sure that we're not we're still finishing things, we're still finishing projects and tasks, but we have actually had a really big push in just making sure that we're okay, that if we need to take a break we can, that we're not trying to kill ourselves. I think that's good advice for anyone. So it's been nice to have that be the focus, and like productivity is kind of second almost. So it's been good. I do really miss just personal connection to people. It's nice to video calls are fun, and they're nice and all. Like you get some social aspect there, but there's very little like horsing around. Like people just talking about their day or um, just the kind of shooting the breeze type stuff in a video call. And so I have to remind myself that and to like give myself time to do that. And so it's been a little interesting to like figure out the balance of like, okay, how do I still have fun with my team that I really like, and not just keeps things so businessy. So I hope that answers the question. So yes, it's getting going okay, but I still miss people. Just hump on what's going on. What concept am I using, Daryl? Okay, Daryl. So I am using a um, concept by the artist Guillermo Esteban. Let me show that real quick. He is a fantastic character artist. I'm going to plug his Instagram another time as this is getting near the end. Um, he is a fantastic character artist. If you guys aren't following him, you definitely should. Let's see. So his work he's just got a fantastic assortment of like highly um, well-made characters with a lot of personality. Like look at this, so good. Oh man, so much life. So there's he's got some fantastic stuff. So go give him a follow. Guillermo Esteban, fantastic character artist, and just kind of playing around with one of his designs tonight. Um, let's see. Oh, cool. Yeah, So Much Monsters. I've seen some of their stuff. I've heard they've got some really nice stuff. So there's a couple different ways to do the eyelids, and like I've done both. I actually don't like using half spheres for it. Um, the main reason is there's some angles that like when you use half spheres, and I'll show this. Let's do it with this. Duplicate. When you use half spheres, and let's say we make the eye like this, um, and we're gonna extract. Let's see what that looks like. That's really big. 0.01. Okay, we're gonna actually. So let's accept this, just for purposes. When we're using half spheres, like that's probably closer to what you get. Um, eyelids don't actually come down in these angles. Like it's not going to go up and it's not going to go down. So you can use half spheres because at least you'll get a nice crisp edge. But one thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to angle this eyelid up a little bit so it's more directional like this. And then same with this eyelid, you're going to want to angle this out. So you're actually getting more of a shape that's more true to how an eyelid's going to intersect with your the skin and the orbital bone. Um, that looks pretty much like what's that amoeba from from SpongeBob SquarePants. Anyway, so this one I just actually sculpted in. Like that's, let's see what the head looks like. So it's just kind of a sculpted in eyelash or eyebrow. Is a way. There's a bunch of different ways I like to do it. This is not the cleanest way. This is one of many ways, but um, let's see. Thank you for answering that one, of course. Been working as a freelance for the past 5 years in my home studio. I rarely get out, and only for video and photo productions. But I try to get major workload for 3D, for design, 3D, and editing, so I stay more isolated here. Now with the kids, my wife, 24/7. It's another story now. Yeah, yeah. I think that's been interesting. Is just trying to find a good work-life balance for my wife and kids because they're not used to being home this much either, and so um, it's been nice to say, okay, well, my wife and family are just as important as my work, and to say, okay, well, they need me for the next few hours. So during the middle of the day, taking a break and stopping and going and watching the kids while my wife maybe takes a rest or something. Get something done for herself. Um, so it's not just all me doing work. Um, then it's been, and then after the kids go to bed, maybe going back and taking a couple more hours to finish my day, or putting in a couple more hours the next day, so I still have some time with my wife. I think it's been good. Um, Here, let's see. Your kids are 20 and 14 years old. A table game. That's awesome. So my kids are not that old. My kids are like 8, 6, 4, and 1.5. Or just not even 1.5, just 1. Um, no, it is 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. So a little bit different lives. Okay, let's do some hair block in and just kind of sculpt around a little bit. Let's do a sphere. So I'm just going to place it just kind of under the head. And then just, oops, kind of mush things around a little bit to, one, just try to find kind of the sculpt line, or the scalp line. And I don't have, there we go. So she's got this cool loose hair. So now that I have it softly block in, I'll just kind of start roughing out stuff. Turn on Z. Oh, not the Z remesher. Let's turn that out. Just Dynamesh. Try to find like a good resolution that's not too high. Um, but also like that will be able to give me enough. And just loosely like blocking in shapes. Um, when sculpting / modeling for a still image, should one worry about topology UVs? Depends on what it's for. Like, all of these are personal sculpts, and I can tell you that I'm not worrying about the topology on this or what the UVs are going to be like. If I was doing this for animation or for games, yeah, I would start worrying about that, but probably not at this stage. This stage, I am only worrying about personality. Like I'm just trying to capture this concept in its 3D form. And trying to do some of that shape language of how to keep it kind of teardroppy shape, weighting the hair, figuring out where things are going to lie, where things are going to flow. Um, I don't want to keep it in symmetry for too long, as this hair is not going to be very symmetrical. So it's like just getting kind of the blobby shapes called out. Um, is it getting a little late here? So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thanks for catching up. Yeah, thanks for stopping by and thanks for your comments, Lucy. That was great. And be safe out there. Yes. Gloves. Wash hands. Do I ever use clay buildup with Alpha 6? What's Alpha 6? Okay, there's my clay buildup. Alpha 6? No. Oh, I like that. Yeah. What I've been doing is I've used this alpha, and then I just change the focal shift down, and it kind of gets the same results. But I actually like Alpha 6. Oh, thank you for the tip. That is a score right there. Um, yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's easy trying to just understand the text side of ZBrush, and I think that is why I use the brushes that I like, and I don't necessarily search for brushes or use a bunch of brushes. I use my move brush, the clay buildup brush. Um, that's 90% of what I use all the time, forever. um, but that being said, like I doesn't mean that I don't try new brushes. I still, the clay pack brushes from Pablo, like I want to find a good clay buildup brush that he has because I like kind of the sketchiness um, of the textures of those brushes. I haven't found like a good medium for like, okay, well, I can control the output. I know what's going to happen when I do this, you know. So my advice to kind of get over that techie thing is just maybe let go. Maybe just try simple. Sometimes the simpler approach in ZBrush is the better approach. Um, there are a million different ways to do something in ZBrush, and it doesn't. One way is not necessarily better than the other. Um, so I would just say just try to get comfortable like sculpting with limited tools in the limited functionalities, and then like once you kind of feel more comfortable in those aspects, then you can start moving on. Um, and then that will kind of like take your loose sketches, and then you can develop those further in 3D, which is what I like to do. Like I like just to take some of my loose sketches and I'll bring those further into 3D because I know that something that I'm not going to be able to really detail out, um, I'll be able to make sense of. Like I know what I want to do with it in 3D. If that makes sense at all. Um, butter. Oh, projection. Yeah, projection is good. The key to projection is just making sure um, you've got close enough details. Oh, when you're dynameshing. Oh, yeah, dynameshing projection. Um, I think it just you have to have like enough topology to do that. But you know, I like to use Dynamesh as more like as the first round, and then I'll stop using it once I get to like a point that I'm like, okay, I'm just subdividing from now because I like keeping things in a low point. Like this hair is not very high. It's only so many polys. 1,000, 10,000 polys, 11,000 polys. I think the key with like hair is just understanding weight behind it. Like there's going to be push and then there's going to be sag, um, and just trying to mimic that. The like where is the gravity pulling things? I'm doing Dynamesh and Dynamesh ZBrush 4 can't do it. Oh, upgrade! ZBrush upgrades are for free. See now, though, this knife brush actually is going to be like the best thing in the world. Because it's going to give that nice pillowy look to some of this, which I'm going to just kind of sketch out. Ooh, I'm going to like this brush for doing hair. Going to give a nice pillowy softness. I like that. You can hear, sorry. I'm sure you can hear my breath. So sorry. This is why I need background music. If you had background, I promise I'm going to get all of my audio stuff figured out one day. No doubt you can hear me breathe. Sorry about that, but thanks for sticking with me. Hey man, thank you so much for an awesome stream. Your washed hands too. Oh yeah, thanks for grabbing that. I'll watch tomorrow for sure. Oh man, Aruba. No way. Thanks for coming over, man. That's great. Yeah, get some sleep. But thanks for coming and thanks for your comments. Dr. Pixels really pays off. Yeah, you be safe, man. Thanks for coming by. Have I ever used Sculptress feature for something? Yeah, normally when I'm doing just like free sketchings, that's when I'm doing more the Sculptress stuff. I get enough detail for like just block in stuff that I don't necessarily do it too much when I'm, at this stage. I guess I could do it for the hair, but I'm already like fully dedicated to what I'm doing, so I just don't. But I do when I'm just like kind of free sketching. I'll do the Sculptors Pro stuff. This is an interesting character. Who is this? So this is a concept from. I'm way over my time. Not really, just 1111. Holy weird. I see that all the time. Have you guys been seeing 1111 and 444? By the way, so this is a concept. I'll show the concept one last time before I jump off. By Guillermo Esteban, who is an incredible character artist and designer. I'll show his stuff. Instagram, Guillermo. He's got some fantastic character designs. So this is one of his designs that I started on tonight, and it's been a lot of fun. I think this is a character that I'm gonna continue with and see if I can get that pose, because the pose and it's got a lot of life to it and it's a lot of fun. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. Let me answer the rest of the questions that are coming through. Humans do tend to breed. Thanks. Hey Matt, uh, you just on Pixelogic Live, or do I have my own channel? I do have my own channel. I am not on it very much because when I'm not doing my full-time job or this, I'm doing Gumroad courses. But every now and then I'll jump on, and it's on that banner. If you look at the banner, the twitch.tv/ the Redbeard 3D, which actually isn't true. That's not it. It's the Redbeard art is the channel. So that's my channel, is the Redbeard art. I jump on occasionally. I'll probably try to jump on a little bit more and more every now and then, but yeah, loving the lines for the hair. Thanks. This has been fun with that knife brush. Fantastic for this. And 888, yeah, I've seen 888 too. So weird. I'm like freaking out because like I see it every day and I barely look at the clock. Anyways, weird. High five. Yes. Yeah, thanks for everyone for coming by tonight. This was a lot of fun. We're gonna have music next time, more conspiracies next time for sure. But we'll call this done for tonight because I've got to go to sleep and start it all tomorrow. But this has been great. So thanks for coming by. Feel free to follow me on the Instagram. Let me just plug my stuff a little bit more. Follow me on Instagram at _Redbeard. I've got my Gumroad courses, gumroad.com/Redbeard. And that's pretty much it. I'm on Facebook, but not very much. So I'll send a link to my Instagram real quick. Instagram.com/Redbeard. I'll show it here. I just had my anniversary. And I post a bunch of my sketches and 3D stuff and works in progress. I really am bad about talking about myself and what I do. Anyways, there's a link to my Instagram stuff, and my art station is, I think, Matt Thorup. Let's see, my art station. Like I'm not even signed in. Let's see. Oh, just Redbeard. So Redbeard on ArtStation. Anyways, thanks for all the questions and the comments and the love. It's been a lot of fun tonight. When I think of Scooby-Doo villain, I am a Scooby-Doo villain. It was me. If it wasn't for them snooping kids. We'll have good dreams tonight, and everyone have a good night. Stay safe out there, and happy sculpting.